Warning: the following video may have language that some viewers may find offensive, and others are already offended. Viewer discretion is advised, but not really. No animals were hurt in the making of this 4-hour feature film.
So when you ran for MPP, so what was the actual, what was it that made you want to do it?
Yeah,
Just to help people? Is that kind of what it was?
in the end, as a pharmacist, I help people. This is just on a bigger scale. I think that's why I enjoyed being an MPP so much, because the people that we could help. My focus was here in the riding. The parties, we can go down the whole path of what parties are like, but helping the people here and getting a good team and getting involved and making sure the people were helped and got what they needed from their government. And that brought me so much joy when we had so many successes, especially in opposition. It's a lot harder to get the help because the government plays the game of we got to look after our own ridings and then don't want to make you look too good for re-election, but it makes it harder. And when you got those wins in opposition, it was great. In government, you expected those wins and you held the ministers to account that didn't help you out.
Right. So during your time as our MPP, so what position did you hold that meant the most to you? What kind of sticks out more for you that you enjoyed doing that one?
I'd say there's two. In opposition was being health critic.
Okay.
Because it was something I really was into the health field and getting into the policies and meeting a great group of people throughout the province. And as government, it was Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks, which may sound weird for a conservative to say that was their best. I was transportation and natural resources and forestry, but I really enjoyed the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. I think we did a lot, to protect the water, protect the air, and expand the parks.
So you never actually held the position of Minister of Health?
No.
But why? You were the perfect, I thought of the perfect person. I always used to tell Suzanne, why do they never make him, being a pharmacist and associated in that industry,
politics is a funny game. Usually when they select the ministers, it's for various reasons. Well,
did you know
I may have had too many opinions for them as well. But Christine Elliott was there. And she was deputy premier, and that's the position she wanted, and she held a lot of sway no matter what. I think she did a fantastic job, Christine. Supported her as where I could. She's the one who helped bring the funding here for the hospice and the MRI. Nice. She's the one I worked with to make that happen. That's where I clash sometimes with the party is I have some strong opinions of what the people they're riding want. And I kind of push the envelope.
So I've had other people ask me this too, and I've kind of always wondered it. So you're in a party, and there's a party platform. Yep. This is what's laid out. The leader says, okay, here's what we're doing. If you don't agree with that certain direction they're going, and you don't follow it, you kind of take people over party, is there repercussions for that? Do you get chastised for that? Can you be removed? Can you,
It depends how you do it, right? So if generally you don't agree with where the party's going, then you got to really, really assess if you need to be a member of that party.
Okay.
And most likely if you're already elected a member, you kind of believe in the general direction. It's the odd policy or something that happens that kind of goes, oh, I'm not part of that.
Exactly.
So if you're out front, in front of the media, yelling and screaming that you don't like this, you're going to be removed from the party because you're no longer part of the team. But the key to do it is behind the scenes, one-on-one with the premier, the ministers, the staff, and push why it's not a good thing and kind of just, sit back and make sure your views are expressed and try to bend the policy in a different direction, which that does, they're open to hearing that.
I'm sure there are members of every party that do like certain things of other parties.
Sure.
I mean, there's policies come out, maybe the Liberals at the PCs, some of the PCs God, I like that. Yeah. I've always been that way. I said, man, if you could make a party with points of everybody and put those together, man, you'd have a super party. Yeah. But I always wondered, but are you bound? You have to follow this protocol that...
When you're minister and your cabinet minister, you do a pledge that you support the government wholeheartedly.
Okay.
And that's what you sign on. That's part of your pledge of becoming a minister.
So even if they come up with something personally that you just, but
You're in
minister,
cabinet and you discuss it and you have your arguments. And at the end of the day, what they walk out with, you're behind the premier and what they're doing. And that's part of being a minister.
That's why
the backbench, it's a little different.
Okay.
But if you speak out too much, push too much, you're never going to get into the cabinet position. Okay. And that's fine. That's fine for some people. They spend Randy Hillier spent his whole career being an outcast of the party. Eventually, he got the boot.
Yes,
but,
he did. Yeah.
He did last quite a long time speaking out how he wanted to.
Okay. Wow. All right. So, our MP, Karen Vecchio.
Yeah.
What was that like working with her?
She's terrible. No.
She's terrible.
No, Karen, I like Karen quite a bit. I think she's represented us well.
Very big community oriented.
Yeah. Full of energy. She was at Parkside when I was at Central, so I've known her way back then. Of course, I went to the better high school than she did, but we won't get into that. No, I really enjoyed working with her. We had our offices worked well together. We both focus on what's best.
You guys had great staff.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah, because you're focused. When you focus on the people, you get good staff.
I worked with both offices a lot with the Legion and the vets and different things we had going on in the city and both sides. Yeah. They were phenomenal.
Yeah, the hired local.
You probably kept getting emails going, oh, he was in here again today, Jeff.
Whitney or Delaney never did that. They were good people, both of them.
Yeah, I always talked to Delaney a lot. And then Jill, I think,
Jill's
for
with Karen. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. And just fantastic. They had to have been your saviors over there at the office.
They make us look good in the community, 100%. Yeah. They work hard because we're not here all the time. But
they were dedicated. They loved it.
Yeah.
They just didn't work for you.
No. And they put in as much time as you do as the elected member. Yeah. And that's the interesting thing that's how much dedication
that's why they got
have.
paid big bucks and we don't get paid so much. So. No, it's awesome. They did really well. So Karen, I know she's very community driven. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We all know certain things that have happened lately with her and being removed on one position there, the women's thing. It's a shame. It's a shame to see. Politics is dirty. Oh, but I give her the credit. Like federal, provincial is probably bad enough. Federal must be even more. Yeah. But okay, so this just popped in. Sorry, I'm going to kind of. But I've always wondered if provincial government is doing something silly. Whatever, we don't say Doug Ford ran off and it just was being a complete ding dong. Mm-hmm. Can the federal government step in? No, they can't. No. And I always wondered why. I always would assume the provincial is like, the assistant managers and the federal government is like the big guys, right? Yeah. But no matter what happens, they can't step in and shut down.
Canada's a federation of provinces. Okay. So they each have their own rules and regulations. Cities are a child of the province. So the province has the power. They control cities. They have the
so you got a rogue mayor in Toronto. The province can come in and say...
They can't get rid of the mayor. There's things in place to get rid of the mayor, but they can change the rules to restrict. It's a lot of work, but he gave the mayors more power, Doug did,
yes,
in the last few years, right? He can take that away. Okay. He can take back more. The province can do how they wish. There's going to be look at bike lanes. Right? Yeah. They're going to decide how bike lanes go. Yeah. So they have that power to do whatever they want.
And now I've been hearing about they're looking at taking them away. Yeah. Some certain bike lanes in Toronto and that they shouldn't be on here.
What they did to University Ave in Toronto was just pitiful. It went from 4 lanes each side to now 2 with parking and bike lanes. And the traffic didn't decrease. I get it. They're trying to make it uncomfortable for cars so more people don't drive. Yeah. But that's a major artery of Toronto, and people still are going to drive. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm glad I'm not in municipal politics in Toronto.
Well, that's the thing though, is I just always wondered about governments, how, that's why elections are very important.
Elections matter. Yeah.
And I've always said that before. I don't care what party you're for. I never did. I don't, everybody has their opinions. They like whatever. That's just vote. Yeah. Just vote. Because I said, as from the Legion side of it, that's why our guys went and did what they did.
There's always
We have that.
there's a legislation that comes up for recall, but it never seems to get to the final steps where you can recall, where you get a petition. I mean, that could turn ugly too, but if you put enough provisions in, like California, you can recall the governor if you get enough signatures in that. I don't think it's overused. I think that's how Arnold Schwarzenegger got in. They recalled the governor, and he ran in the by-election and got in. So, but we don't have that here. It's been attempted, but it never gets the final reading.
Never hits. Oh,
That'd be the only way is a recall legislation.
Okay. I know one thing that you did that stood out of my mind. One of the best things that came out from you was Ryan's Law.
Yeah.
When you propose a private member's bill, how hard is that from day one to law?
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and I was in opposition, so I didn't even have the support of any government staffers. I had just a handful of the people at the time. I had one person in Toronto who worked for me, so they were the ones doing a lot of the dog work. I sent some down to St. Thomas to do the research, but Sandra Gibbons was the mom of Ryan who passed away at school because of an asthma attack, and his inhaler was locked away, and they just couldn't get it to him in time. Sandra came and told me her story, and what can I do? I reached out to the Asthma Society. They offered support. They helped quite a bit. And it was just getting it written up. I mean, the legislature helps you write it. I mean, you send it to the lawyers write everything, so you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
That just all the legalese is done. But it's promoting it, trying to sell it to the government to accept it, because they actually control, with private members' bills, at the end of the day, they control the committee structure of where the private members' bill go, and if it gets called back for third and final reading. So the government has to buy into your bill, and fortunately they did at the end of the day. But it failed the first time. In my first term was when I ran the first, and it came right down to, it was one of the last bills being discussed in committee, and it passed. So it was due to go to third reading and become law, and then Kathleen Wynne called an election. So it died. So I had to start all over again.
Oh, no.
And MPPs get to do private, any non-minister gets to do a private member's bill, and it's a draw. And I think I was number 12 or something. I got it early. Usually, most draws, I was like 101 or 80, so I had to wait my turn. It's every Thursday, 3 private member bills. So you can see there's 122, I think now, or it's 125 at one point. So it takes a long time to get through the process. But I was up in the first 2 months of sitting, so I got my bill in early.
Wow.
And and Steve Clark was our House leader, and did a great job of pressing the government on bringing this bill back. We kind of go back and forth on what private bills will support. And fortunately, it came up, and Sandra was right there. The Asthma Society is right there, and
that had a context, though, of you couldn't be against it.
Believe it or not, the bureaucracy in the Ministry of Education was against it.
Were they really?
They fought tooth and nail against it. They just didn't want to implement that. I don't know how well it's being operated now, but I do know kids can have their puffers at school. I just don't know the ins and outs if they actually, because they're supposed to do an asthma plan as well, and education for the staff at the schools to understand.
See, this is where I get into before we started the show, we're talking a little bit about politics and stuff, and I said I couldn't do it because I could see myself being kicked out, escorted out, thrown out, whatever. 'Cause I don't understand today's world. A lot of the thinking and what's happening and where people are coming from. I sit back, I shake my head, and it's like, what? Yeah. Like, how do you have the capabilities to breathe? I don't understand it. I don't. Like, there's no common sense. I just don't see it. And I ran into that with Extinguishers for Cindy. We petitioned, we went all over the place. I traveled all over Ontario. I had letters from emergency services and St. Thomas Police and council members and EMS and all over. I had backings of fire chiefs, and we went to, and the only part I hated about this whole entire thing is you were gone. You were done then, and Rob came in, and I kept saying from the start, oh my God, I so wish Jeff was here. Because I know you would have been right on there, like with us, full heart. And I went through the Ministry of Transportation. I went through other higher levels of government. Even Doug Ford wrote me back And they said, who was the Minister of Transport? Was it Christine Elliott?
Carolyn Mulroney.
Carolyn Mulroney, yes, yes. And I talked to her office, and one of her people in the office. Anyway, they came back and said, hey, we talked to Caroline. We really appreciate this. We want to support this. If we can make our roads safer in Ontario and be the leader in Canada, we'd like to do this. And let's set up more talks and whatever. As time went on, Rob invited us down to Toronto. We were there for this reading. It wasn't an actual bill reading. It was just of the campaign and what it was. And everything died. It was just gone. And then we got word back through Rob's office that Mulroney's office was just saying, well, it's not us that makes this law. It was some other like fire marshal or something. And I kept thinking, how is that possible? They're not in charge of vehicles. And it was just right away, the buck was going over here. Mm-hmm. We don't really want to do it, so we're going to pass it over here. And so we kept up pressure. I mean, we backed right off on a lot of, we don't do the draws, but we're still doing behind the scenes stuff, working on it.
That's key.
With Rob's office, I was disappointed. I come right out and say, I've been a member of PC Party for a long time. And when we went to Rob, didn't even know who the hell I was. He had no clue, which made it hard.
Yeah, he had to get his time to learn the community and get to know people.
And in all fairness, he had just started at that time, right? But
I think he's doing well at integrating, and I give him those credits. I think he's figuring out what Elgin County is all about. And, that's props.
I mean, he's Dorchester, isn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't that his local?
Yeah, he's in Thames Centre area.
Okay.
So he's coming along.
Government was just frustrating that we were like, yeah, we're here, we love it, we do this, we do that. When you talk about the school boards were kind of fighting back about Ryan's Law, where I had only a few fire departments, but there were some that were like, no, we don't want to see this. Mm-hmm. We don't want to see this because we don't want everybody turning into Rambo and running down to vehicle fires and trying to put them out by themselves. Well, I understand that. That's kind of not what, I don't care what you do in the world. There's always going to be somebody that's going to be the hero that want to do something, and it may not turn out that way, but it's just a shame that you do get resistance. But Ryan's Law was pretty cool. That was that saved lives.
That's all the opportunity to save lives. Yeah. I mean, it didn't make sense to lock it up. It wasn't. It was a reliever medication for someone having trouble breathing, and they should be with them if they need it.
But now we're going to go to the big one.
All right.
The big one right now. So MRI, St. Thomas.
Hey, love it. Yep.
So when this all came about, were you the head of the committee? What role did you play? Like, how did this come about?
This started for me back in 2018, maybe 2019. The hospital came to me. Robert Byron was the CEO at the time. He was before Karen Davies. He gave me a list. This is what I would like accomplished for our hospital. This presentation. It was a new lab for the hospital. Fix the funding model, because when we did the addition, the Ministry of Health didn't factor in the new building into the funding, so they're actually being underfunded.
Oh, really? Okay.
And a new pharmacy and an MRI machine. I got 3 of the 4 of them done. I didn't get the new pharmacy for them.
That's...
Oops. It's
we'll leave that.
It'll come. So, I mean, the funding model was fixed. We got the funding model fixed. They're getting a new lab. The new lab should be completed. And then the MRI, working with Christine Elliott's office. She already gave us a hospice that we worked on. That's another story you could talk about that we worked really hard on. But the MRI, I pressured them. The hospital did their bit as well. And Karen Davies came in as well and took up the mantle from Robert to push this. And Christine Elliott approved it. And then I retired from politics. And the hospital called me not long after I retired, maybe within 6 months, and said, would you like to be the chair of the fundraising campaign to raise $8 million for the community bit? And I thought, I think I'd love to do it, because I was there for another part of this MRI, and to complete it and see it open operating.
Yeah.
It means a lot to me, because it's something that we were there at the infancy stages, just as an idea, and now it's up and running.
You watched it grow.
And I mean, my position was different. I was more of an advocate in the government to make it happen, and now I'm a fundraiser. I wasn't actually the people that design and build and all that, the hardworking people. I'm just kind of side guide, making sure we get some money in it.
No, I've got some photographs that I'm going to put up on the screen. There was some major, magnificent donations.
Yeah.
I mean, some big amounts too, but it was like, wow, the support, the amount of people that were behind this in businesses.
It
was
is great.
just outstanding.
Across the whole region. It's been amazing. And we got the FDC Foundation out of Toronto, which does support health agencies.
Okay.
And they have a matching grant up to $1 million that we got. And we're 3/4 of the way through that right now. So they've contributed as well. Like,
and I just saw the MRI now is open.
Up and operational, yeah.
So it wasn't that long ago, it just got delivered.
Yeah.
So it got up and running pretty quick.
Yeah. So the MRI is phase 1 of a 4-phase plan for the diagnostic.
Okay.
So there's still more. That's why we needed $8 million to get. So I mean, new CT scanners, new CT scanner room, new ultrasound equipment.
Okay.
Nuclear medicine is expanding. Okay. They've already done mammography, and it's all going to be in one area with one waiting room. It's going to be spectacular for service, and eventually they're going to bring down the cardio stuff into that area as well. So it's really close to the new wing where the surgery and all that stuff's happening. So it's easier to take people in.
Okay.
It's
I was going to say, where is this located?
Yeah. So where the old emergency was, is where the MRI machine. So there was this little surgical room, OR room in the back. I remember going, there's the old green tiling and everything. So that's where the MRI is.
Okay.
So the whole remerge has been repurposed. They had to take out a wall to bring the MRI machine in.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, because it's huge.
An exterior wall.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's there, right? And it's
and
it's liquid helium keeps it cold, so they should see all this helium stuff that's around there. Yeah, so it's pretty amazing.
I've never had an MRI, so I really don't know what they're.
Yeah, neither have I, and I hope I don't need one.
Well, you don't need one, I know.
You never know.
But you keep running the way you're doing. You may be going to get your knees fixed or something. I don't know how you do it. You do a lot of running.
Yeah, picked it back up. Yeah. My wife and I used to do it way back when we were.
I tried, but I don't run well.
Oh, neither.
Like literally, I run hard. Like when I watch people that literally they look like they float.
Well, I don't float.
I don't. No. And every time I hit hard on my feet and my head jerks and I never liked running. Even as a kid, I did not run.
I used to do it for the enjoyment and try to.
My neighbor used to run 10K every day.
Yeah.
And no problem. Never even break a sweat. But yet he looked like, when you watch him literally, it was like he was just bouncing on his feet. Just, I don't. I slam.
I'm not graceful in my running, but I enjoy it.
Yeah. I just couldn't. No, I couldn't do it. So how many were on the committee? Like this, when the people you work with, did you actually have a committee? Your campaigning.
There was different subcommittees in it. So I work with the St. Thomas Foundation. So Mary Lou Crowley is the new executive director or president of the foundation, which is the fundraising wing of the hospital. Okay. So she's not part of the operation. They're inside the hospital fund. She's amazing. She came from Chatham. Done an amazing job at fundraising, and her team is my support for kind of organizing the campaign. Susan O'Brien, she was a teacher in town, retired, lovely lady. She's chair of the community part, so the people that are out there knocking on doors with friends, neighbors, and family, trying to secure tons of donations. I'm the chair of the business group that we have as well. So, but I'm part of all of it. And then the hospital has an internal family committee that is running as well. So there's 3 separate committees under the foundations, which I'm chairing the campaign.
Okay. Wow.
So it's amazing amount of community support within the volunteers who are going out and asking for money from across the county. And as I said, I think we're at 95% now of our deal. And hopefully, bringing that last bit of money in, we should be hopefully done by
I've done a lot of fundraising, so I kind of have an idea about this, but I'm definitely not that kind of dollar amount that we're talking about. But how did you find the people, the businesses in this area? How did you find them when you approached them about donations? Did some come to you already and say, "Hey, we want to," or did they wait till you came and asked?
It was a mix. Yeah. We've been waiting so long for an MRI.
Yeah.
It was an easy sell. People understand the importance of it, the fact that you have to travel outside of the region. 5,000 people a year, I guess, go outside of Elgin for an MRI every year.
Yeah.
We keep most of them here now. They wanted to give. I mean, it was tough because hospice was going on at the same time as well, so you're kind of torn. So thankfully, a lot of businesses gave both because we've been waiting for a long time for hospice. But
Absolutely.
it wasn't a tough sell to people, which thankfully made it a lot
Now,
easier.
hospice, that's up in the north end here, isn't it?
Just down by Waterworks Park. Yeah. It's almost built.
Yeah. I actually haven't been down there to go look at it.
Should be up and running next year.
Now, that is another one, though. Isn't hospice strictly run, like it's volunteers? Does this one have funding from government level?
Yes.
Or does it? Okay.
Yeah. So this is part of the funding of that one as well. So the government helps with part of the build, and also a little bit of the capital costs, and it also gives 50% of the operation costs.
Okay.
So with a hospital, with the MRI, they got full funding to operate. So they've got staff trained, they're going to be open, and the community doesn't have to worry about that. With the hospice, they're going to have ongoing fundraising for 50% of their operations ongoing, because government with hospice only funds half. But they did help with the capital campaign, and as I said, the hospice is going gangbusters.
Now, for people that don't know what hospice is, that is a building that provides for the family somebody that's on their last
it's the
journey of life.
Yeah,
and
end of the journey.
The family, they can go to hospice, they get their medical care, they get everything there.
Great service. And the other part about hospice, though,
it's kind of a dying with dignity. Is that kind of what?
It's giving a wholesome support, not only to the person who's dying, but their family and friends, and kind of making them comfortable. And giving them the support they need as they can't stay at home. And they don't want to die in a hospital. This is a place to go. But what's interesting about our hospice, it's not happening in other regions, is they're also opening a palliative care clinic. So people who don't need hospice beds care, who are out in the community, they will be able to come and get support and treatment at the outpatient clinic, which should pull a lot of demand on our emergency room. Because right now people can't get hold of their doctor or the palliative care team. They go to the hospital to get, an emergency pain, vomiting, anything that you can go through. There'll be a lot diverted through to the clinic. So it's doing a wholesome job there, and it's going to be a community center as well. You can rent some rooms and stuff. So it's going to be amazing facility.
Amazing stuff. Thanks for doing that. I mean, all the work that you've been in the MRI. There's a lot of people going to benefit. It's got to be.
I look at the perfect, like I support.
It's a team, right? It's everybody.
Yeah. I'm not doing the hard work there. That's
no, but you know what? Every role is important. I always say, I don't care what you are in a committee.
I was good at being a pest to the ministers. We need the money.
That's where it falls in. You're a local guy, and you've got the knowledge, and you know where to, if I have stuff, Cindy's Law, if I want to press this further, I'm going to come and say, hey, what route should I do? Who should I, maybe I can get you contact somebody for me and say, hey, can you set up a meeting for me? Something in any way. So let's go on a quick personal side, because I know we're way over time. I just want to get in this. So this is going to sound funny, but in your spare time, what do you do?
Hang out with my wife and my dog, and when Maggie comes home from school, and just go do stuff in the community.
I laugh when people ask me about spare time.
It's neat. I have most of my nights. And I hadn't had that for such a long time, and it's just
Now,
it's cool.
I don't know how you're going to answer this one. We all have our own opinions on this, but I'm going to ask you, because I've had a lot of people ask me this before. What was the real reason? Like, what was the reason you left the government? So we saw stories and whatever, but for you personally, like, was it just you had enough of it? Was it I know we touched on family. You want to spend more time, and I get that. But without getting yourself into any hot water. But
it was a combination of things, and the premier and I at the time didn't see eye to eye on a number of things, certain things that, and it was time. I didn't want to become a burr in his side, and I didn't want to, my dad always said when I first got in politics, he says, whatever you do, stay honest, keep your integrity.
Absolutely.
And I felt at that time
Absolutely.
I would have probably not been honest with myself, and it was time to go. And it was time.
I knew that.
Doug and I
knew that.
were I think Doug and I are fine now,
Yeah.
but at that time it was not a good time.
Like I said, I've been a member of the party for a long time. Actually, Doug, when he first came on, I was all for it.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing other things coming, and I was like, okay, I don't really kind of go. Yeah. But I always got, for me, I'm not going to say about anybody else, but it always came to me, it was the impression of, listen, guys, it's my way or go. I don't need you. If you're not going to do it the way I want to do it, I'm not interested. And, there was just certain things that I would have rather seen than, we had the buck of beer thing that was going to be coming. It's like, I don't care about buck of beer.
But I will say for Doug, he was the first leader that I had 3 or 4, who was approachable, that you could call him on the cell and talk to him about whatever. I mean, he does set his agenda. He's the leader.
Yeah.
He's going to say what it is, but he was very approachable and done that. So
I did ask Karen the one time about being in Parliament, and Trudeau's there. So the Prime Minister's there. I said, when Parliament ends, can you actually go up and talk to him? She said, oh, heck no. She said, he's usually gone before it even ends. He's already out.
Yeah. Well,
and
I could do Kathleen Wynne. I could do that. Like she was always. You could go talk to her right after. Dalton McGuinty, I did the same. I talked to him a few times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, didn't get me anywhere, but anyways. But yeah, no.
But they were approachable. So Doug is like that. You could go down with.
Yeah, yeah, and he's like, and I mean, he gives out a cell number, and he actually does respond if you text him and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, and Rob, who replaced me, I think he's come along quite well, and he's a rural guy, so that's really a benefit for our riding. So I think keep pushing him on the Cindy law.
Yeah.
Get back on him. I think
I pretty much handed everything over now to the family. Richard, Christine, they were doing it. I pretty much backed right out. That was the whole intent. I just, at the time, because I knew Cindy, I just wanted to get it going. Through that whole campaign, we did over $52,000, and we gave out over 1,400 fire extinguishers.
Yeah, so that's great for the community.
That was
an awareness.
It was awareness, and it was just something I wanted to show that one person can do something.
You can.
I hear that. Well, I'm only one person. Like, who's going to listen? No, you can. You can.
You got to be persistent.
Yeah.
And you were.
That I was.
You were.
I'm pretty sure I got quite a few. Oh shit, it's not even good. Okay, this picture.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you got a lot of paint stuff. Sorry for the black and white.
Yeah.
The color will be up on the screen when we go look at this stuff. Yeah. What this was like paint.
Yeah, it was an Indian event, a colors event. They were fundraising for the MRI. And,
is that what that was?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, all right. Went out there and had fun. Joe Preston was there and a couple of people from the hospital. We just showered ourselves with colors.
That's awesome. I looked at that and went, what are you doing? And then this one I really, really enjoyed. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I got to get this one. Get rid of that one.
Oh, man. Well, that exemplifies Karen and I's relationship as MP, MPP.
Yeah.
We enjoyed each other's company, had a lot of fun. We were friends, and we helped each other quite a bit.
That looks like you were, because I see the person at the Legion event.
Elmer Legion.
Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure what it was for, but it was Elmer.
I just recognized the tie and everything there. So, here we go. This is a great picture.
Yep, the MRI cutting the ribbon. That
awesome.
was so satisfying.
That had to be a proud moment.
That was very satisfying. It was a great group of team. I mean, we're so fortunate to have our hospital here and more services we can add.
Oh, absolutely.
It's top notch.
Well, we're growing too.
It's got to be the best medium-sized hospital in the province.
I mean, I can't remember how much time in the future, but we're looking at 80,000 people here in the next, was it 2040 or something like that?
I think down the road,
even that. Not even that.
It's going to be huge growth. When that plant's up and running, it's going to just take off.
It is, and then there's a lot of downsides to that too. I mean, the cost of things and our rents and everything that are going up. I mean, it's tough for people.
It's a change.
But now we go back to the family business, and here's your community.
Oh, right,
event.
Your
barbecue.
60. What are we at? 61st anniversary barbecue.
Okay.
Raised funds for tiny homes.
Tiny homes, yes.
We try to pick a charity in town that we.
Okay.
$1,500 we raised for it.
Oh, that's
barbecue. Thanks to everybody that came out and bought a burger or hot dog.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's fun. We do that for our anniversary.
Every time you have it on, I got something. I'm either got an LTB a thing or whatever, and I can't get down there. I can't. I'm gonna have to call you and say to reserve
Yeah.
it.
In the last couple of years, you always have it, and it rains, and it's
Yeah.
always around my birthday. It rains, so we got to start making it happen later, I guess, after the rain. But it's always when the hurricanes going on in the
I know.
States.
Yeah.
And all that
Oh,
stuff.
now you get the conspiracies that they're all government-made hurricanes now, right? So yeah. Okay. Final. Here we go. Really quick.
Yep.
What makes Jeff happy?
Giving to people and time with friends and family.
Yeah.
The best thing I can do is just hang out at home with my wife and daughter and my dog. Gotta have my dog with me.
Yeah, I know the dogs. What a stress reliever.
Oh, they're just great.
I love my Molly. You know, no matter how bad of a day you are, and you only give them, so much time of your life each day, but for every moment they're with you, you are their life.
Oh, 100%.
It doesn't matter. It's just,
yeah.
They are an amazing animal. What pisses you off? Like literally, what makes you go?
People call it gaslighting. I don't like when people aren't telling me the truth.
Okay.
I can handle the truth. I'm very upfront person. I tell you how I feel. I try not to hide things, and I like that in return. You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
It might be disappointing what I hear, but I can deal with it. But I just don't like when, and you bump into politics all the time.
Yeah.
But you're not told the truth.
Yeah.
And you know the person's not telling the truth.
Do they? Just really quick. Do they have like schooling on how you dance around questions?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they call it media training.
Do they? Is that what it's called?
I did it every week as a minister. You had to do it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it might be answering a question, but what you're doing is delivering the message you want the media to report.
Yeah.
Because the questions they're asking, might not be. They're trying to get you.
Well, sure.
And you're trying to. So you learn to deflect it into.
what you want see it almost with every single politician. You ask them a question, and they kind of. It's there, but we go around the corner.
Some are good at it, and you don't even know they're doing it. And then the ones that are really bad at it, you're not even answering the question. Like, it's something else.
I see that lots going on in the States right now. Thank God there's only 21 days or something left of that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank goodness Canada's is only a month long too, right?
Yeah.
We know what's coming. We just,
The Canadian one is just, and now the biggest one that just came out about the names of the members of certain parties that are involved in this other thing, and Trudeau has the list, and oh my God, I'm like,
make it public.
it's so
Let the people know.
Why
put everybody's name out there so we know. We don't want them there.
Yeah.
If they're colluding with foreign
absolutely
intelligence, we don't want them there.
I know.
Let us know. Why we're not.
It's always easy.
We're not babies. Like we can handle the truth.
Okay, but now you're in pharmacy, so here's my quick thing. Why did none of the countries in the world go back to China and hold them responsible for this COVID? Like all of those deaths and money and businesses, we're in the trillions and trillions of dollars, whatever, worldwide. Well, probably way more than that. But China just, it's China.
Yeah,
Donald Trump kept calling, made the big China.
They can just snub their nose at, right? They're a big enough economy, and they're so intertwined with trade with everybody. They could.
I know there's a lot of conspiracies out there and everything about it and whatever. But
that's why with more manufacturing we bring back to Canada and more things we can do ourselves, better we'll be in the long run. I
don't know. Everybody is a conspiracy theorist in some form. Everybody has their thoughts, right? For me, I'll come right out and say it. I always thought this was a test to see how the world would react. This was kind of they released it. We're going to watch and see how the reaction to all of this is, what the countries are going to do. They're a massive superpower, China. They're huge, and I don't know. It was a nasty thing. Like, why would they even make that? Yeah. If it's a lab-made thing, but the version of it, because now we're going to be stuck with this thing for.
It's hard, to pinpoint where it happened, and how it expanded.
Exactly.
I think the key is looking at what was our response, and how can we do a lot better, and keep people's freedoms up as much as possible.
But I believe as evolution continues, immunities build over time. When I grew up on the farm and we used to clean the animals and we didn't wash our hands, we just ate sandwiches. We never got sick. you took in natural bacterias and stuff, and your body was able to fight things. I think today's world, personally, I think we're actually too clean. We sanitize so much that your body doesn't even have much natural tolerances anymore. And I think if you were more, I don't want to say dirty, you don't want to say dirty people, but I just always found my dad always used to say it, you know, and just get out there, do that. We used to work in the shop. You had oil on your hands. You had all. We see you eat lunch.
It's a balance, I think. We've come a long way where, you know, we don't have half the sanitary diseases we used to have. Or in Canada and States, we're pretty much clear of that. I mean, there's the E. coli outbreak here and there, but I think there's a balance. You can swing the clock too far, as you say, and become too germophobic, and our immune systems aren't developing and fighting bacteria and viruses that are out there, which maybe that's why we're having worse colds than you see previously. Yeah. But the world changes nonstop. I just saw immigration brings whole new diseases here, and we send our diseases there.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know,
well, I saw raising pigs where we had it was an 18% hog grower ECU, so it used to make them grow faster. But at that time we had minimal disease herds. So everybody, you had this effect going into the barn. Only certain people were allowed in the barn. But the slightest virus that would come in, we used to have this one that would come in the spring. It would take out. I had 1,200 gilts, and I'd probably lose about 160 every spring. You come in the morning, they're fine, they're eating. Come in at lunch, they're laying on their belly. Come in at supper, dead. And this went on all the years that barn was there. And I went through OMAF. I had some courses in Ontario Federation, the agriculture, food, dairy, hog farming. I did that, and minimal disease medications, and found out that a lot of minimal disease herds were not like the free range pigs that were outside or associated with dirty items and grass and dirt. So when a basic virus or germ would come in, it would affect them. They had no tolerance to that.
Yep, that can happen. I mean, but I think it shows that we need to have proper surveillance, so we can monitor what's coming in and out. So public health can make the change. I know in natural resources, we deal with chronic wasting disease in the deer herds and keeping a close eye and making sure that doesn't spread, because you know that can be quite devastating to all our farm animals eventually if it jumps a breed or you know, or it affects humans too, right?
Like
it's
bird flu and that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, chronic wasting is not a good thing in the deers, and they do a good job at making sure it's minimized and monitoring where it's at. It's all through North America.
Wow. I guess the last one I have for you, Jeff, is tomorrow, you and the family, everybody, even the dog, you're hopping on a bus, a train, a plane, wherever. Where are you going?
You paying for it?
I'll talk to Doug.
I think
your dream vacation. Where would you go?
You know, with the family, I would go back to Poland. My dad took me there in the 90s. I got to see where my family came from, and it was really eye-opening. A beautiful country, amazing country. And I like to share that with my daughter. So to me, my wife's never been either. She'd enjoy it as well. Do a tour. My dream would be go back to Poland and just tour around and show them what it's all about.
Yeah. So you were born here, though, right?
Yeah. Born and raised here.
So how much family do you have?
Nobody keeping contact. I've got cousins, second cousins. I met them back in the 90s. We're not close contact. It's far enough. I think my grandparents came over a long time ago, over 100 years ago.
Wow.
So we've been removed. And then communism moved into Poland, and you couldn't even go visit them for
We're all descendants of immigrants.
Yeah.
We all came from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
My mom was English, my dad was Belgium. So been over there 1977.
Yeah.
We were in Belgium and
it's neat to go see where your ancestors came from.
Yeah. I was pretty young. I'd like to go back.
Yeah.
But it's something that eventually I'd like to go do. But Anyway, thanks, man. Holy jumping, did we ever kill this one?
Glad you had it.
I said half an hour to an hour, right? And I think we're almost on an hour and 20 minutes now.
Well, there we go.
So,
it's fun to
we
talk
got a second tape in this afternoon, but I'm sure there was lots that we didn't even get into, but I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks for your
time. I hope it was fun.
Yeah.
We just kind of
No pressure, no stress. I love it. I love it.
That's the whole thing. So yeah, you can tell everybody that I'm going to approach Future.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah.
We're going to have fun. So I'll get some pictures up.
Okay.
And we'll talk about show the pictures as we're talking through the interview. So, all right, folks, there you go. Mr. Jeff Yurek was our local MPP, and I don't know. Here's how fun. Will you ever run for council?
You never say never in politics.
Yeah.
How's that, right? If I say no and I run, then if I don't,
Yeah, maybe. Never know.
the world's open.
There you go. So you may see a vote for Jeff Yurek for St. Thomas Council sometime in the future. Maybe when you retire.
If I retire.
If you retire. All right. Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you again next time.
Thanks.
Awesome. That was pretty good. I enjoyed that.